Japanese breakfast loaded up with the vegetables. Today I'm going to show you a flavorful ginger rice, miso soup under 2 minutes, and creamy tofu salad, which was one of my great grandma's recipes. Soak rice in water for at least 1 hour. I'm using sticky sushi rice. If you are looking for how to make sushi sticky rice, I have a separate video. Let me leave the link in the description box for you. Drain the water and transfer to the pot. I'm using heavy bottom pot like this, but any large pot will do. Add water, followed by kombu stock powder. Light soy sauce. Just a heads up, the sodium content of light soy sauce is higher than the regular soy sauce, but it doesn't ruin the color of the dish. I don't want the rice to be too brownish, so opting for the light soy sauce for this recipe. Rice wine to make the rice fluffy. I have a Japanese pantry essential video talking about the Japanese condiments. Again, the link is in the description box. And some salt to season it. And give it a good start. The exact measurement will be written on my blog. All the dishes I'm showing you in this channel have a recipe. You can always find the link in the description box. Then I have a ginger. Shred them as thin as possible. Ginger can be a little fibrous to eat, so slicing them thinly is the key in this recipe. I leave the skin on, but you can peel the skin if you want. A couple weeks ago, I made a video on my great grandma's breakfast recipe. You guys seem to enjoy it so much, so I decided to follow the theme. The creamy tofu salad coming up soon was her favorite, so stay tuned. Next, I have thin fried tofu called aburaage in Japanese. Again, thinly slice them. This is gonna give the richness to the rice. You can sub to shiitake mushrooms if you don't have a fried tofu on hand. Place them on top of the rice and we're gonna cook them up. Cook it on high heat. Once it starts to boil, reduce the heat to low immediately, otherwise water will overflow. Pop the lid, then cook it for 10 minutes. And from now, try not to open the lid to keep the steam inside. After 10 minutes, off the heat and steam it for another 15 minutes, and we'll come back later. Next, let's work on the creamy tofu salad called shirae in Japanese. I have firm tofu. Remove the water by putting something heavy on top of it. Leave it for 15 minutes, and you can use silken tofu too, but it tends to get soggy as a result. In 15 minutes, we're gonna shred the vegetables. Shred carrot into thin strips. I'm going to use carrot and green beans, but spinach, edamame, broccoli, and mushrooms are great alternatives. Bring them to the stove and quickly blanch them. Into the boiling water, add salt. Cook the carrot for about 1.5 minutes, followed by green beans. Blanch it for another 30 seconds, then drain the water. I forgot to tell you, if you have strings, remove them like this. I always can't get it right. Do you guys have any tips for removing the strings of green beans? Cut the end off. Then slice them on the angle. I want the veggies to be a little al dente since the tofu is soft. However, that's just a personal preference. If you're making it for toddlers, you may want to blanch them 1 minute longer. Let's make tofu dressing. I have toasted sesame seeds. Sesame needs to be toasted to give the nuttiness to the dish. Ground them until they almost become like a paste. The smell from the toasted sesame seed is the most aromatic scent in the world. In my opinion, at least I love them. What's your favorite aroma? Share in the comment section. And in goes 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And 1.5 teaspoon of white miso. You can also use yellow miso. Ground that again. And for your information, now I have a shop page on my web where you can get the Japanese condiments and my favorite kitchen appliances. This mortar and pestle is one of them. Please visit and let me know what you think. Now the tofu should be ready. You can see a lot of water has been released. Break the tofu into chunks. Then mix with sesame dressing. If you want to make ahead of time, keep the tofu and dressing separately, then mix together just before serving it. Moisture of tofu will continue to seep out once it's combined with the sesame dressing. Add carrot and green beans, then toss them to coat. This tofu dressing is pretty gentle and mild. If you think it's not savory enough, simply reduce the amount of tofu. The tofu dressing is creamy, savory, and nutty, together with the crunch from the veggies. If you are a tahini lover like me, I guarantee you're gonna love this. By the time your rice should be done steaming, shall we open it? I always wish I could deliver the smell through the screen. When the rice is still hot, add shredded ginger and pop the lid and leave it for 2 minutes to bring up even more aroma. Open the lid and mix them all together. The rice is fluffy and ginger is still very fresh. It's the best to enjoy right away. When I was little, I didn't really like it since the ginger was too peppery to me, but now I'm loving it. Please consider giving it a try, especially if it's still cold when you leave. Ginger will warm you up. And lastly, we are making miso soup in under 2 minutes. In a bowl, tear the nori seaweed into little pieces. And add chopped spring onion. Followed by bonito flakes. This bonito flakes will act like a fish stock, so feel free to add a generous handful of it. If you are vegan, feel free to swap for wakame seaweed. Finally, the miso paste. I'm using yellow miso, but choose whatever you like. Pour the boiling hot water. Then give it this all mixed until the miso paste is fully dissolved. Speaking of miso soup, in a few weeks, I'm going to give you more miso soup ideas and how you can repurpose miso soup into totally different dishes. So don't forget to subscribe. Time to prepare the table. Rice and soup along with 3 dishes filled with vegetables. I can't believe my great-grandma was making this every morning. It's certainly a labor of love. Back then, about 80 years ago, time went by slowly and leisurely. It gave people more time to enjoy the food itself. 何から食べよう。いただきます。We are living in a busy life, so pick one of today's recipes that sparked your eye, and if you can make one for yourself, I'll be very happy. Share with me by tagging on Instagram at Miwa Japanese Cooking Class. Please share with your family and friends who is looking for healthy meal ideas. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye bye, またね。